gotta understand that it's not just about doing great things, but we have a great God that is setting the things right in the world that are so out of line with God's heart. And as we do those little things, it begins to spark. In fact, at one point, Mother Teresa, someone asked her, they said, "How have you managed to lift 50,000 people off the streets?" Mother Teresa said, "Oh, I started with one. That seemed to work pretty good, you know." I met this other community where they had such a vibrant life, and I said, "How did all this start?" And he said, "Actually, it started with a married couple. And this married couple had not been able to have children. They kind of found themselves lonely. They were walking through their neighborhood in a pretty kind of wealthy suburb, but they ended up meeting a woman who was 6 months pregnant and homeless. And as they talked to her, they just said, "Well, this can't be. You know, come back to our house. We'll figure something out." So they invited her back to the house, and they just hit it off. You know, they kept living together. And after a while, they ended up saying to her, "Hey, if you just want to have your baby while you live in this home, we would love to be a part of that birth because we've never been able to have a kid." And so she had her baby while she lived there. And then they said to her, they said, we're getting to live one of our dreams, which is, to have a child in our home. What's something you wanted to do? So after she had the child, she said, "I've always wanted to go to nursing school, but I've never been able to." So they said, "Well, you go to nursing school, and we'll take care of your baby while you're in class." So she went off to nursing school, and she became a nurse. And the way that the story ends is that this little girl, they lived together for like over 10 years. And that little girl grew up to be a teenager. The formerly homeless woman became a nurse. And then the woman of the married couple contracted multiple sclerosis, and she got really, really sick. But as she died, she had a nurse that took care of her. And she did die just about a year ago. And it's that image of just small things with great love that you look at that family, and it is such a reflection of the kingdom of God, of a family that is born again in the Spirit of God, and that people can feel and taste God's goodness together from each other as we take care of one another. So it's those small things with great love that I think we're about. And as you go out of here, those are the things that we got to have our eyes open for. One little group of these kind of preppy girls came up to me and they're like, "Shane, we're a little different from you. We like our manicures and pedicures." And I'm like, "Yeah, we are a little different, Although that one time I got a manicure. And they said, "But we've been trying to think about what it means to live out the kingdom where we are." And so we found this elderly folks home down the street, and they said, we went there and we got a list of all of the old women who don't have any visitors or any family. And so now we go there every week, and we meet with these old women, and we listen to their stories, and we give them manicures and pedicures, and they are able to share God's love with them and hear God's love from them. And it's those little acts of love that I think are the very seeds of the kingdom of God, aren't they? So